let's let's take a little look outside of that urban edge side. I'm really interested, and I know a lot of the people that listen in to these interviews are always interested in the personal journey that these innovators have. So I'm just wondering, what did your journey look like to become the CIO at Urban Edge Properties? What journey did you go on?
Ooh, all right. Depends how far back I should go. But I didn't really start thinking that I was going to become a technologist. In fact, it was a completely different career path. It was on design, fashion design, which clearly I did not do. But at the time when the internet boom happened, I realized that this was something interesting, and I decided to join that path. Um, and I started as an intern for a real estate brokerage company as a help desk.
Oh wow! So I mean, you really were right at the bottom of the entire stack, as
Oh
it
yeah,
were.
at
Wow.
the
Okay.
very bottom. Um, and it's funny because as a help desk, yes, you have the day-to-day problem solution. But one thing that intrigued me was how is it that people are still working on pen and paper and trying to work solve business problems with so much paper, right? Um, and I also like to observe. So I was one thing that caught my mind is I was looking at how the CIO of the time at that company was operating and the reaction of the clients, right, the brokers. What I noticed is that people wanted change, wanted things that work for them that will make their lives easier, but they wanted to be communicated with. They wanted to know every single step of the journey and they wanted to be included in it, and that got piqued my interest. And so I spent several years in that company and changed roles in that company. And I was very fortunate because the CIO of the company saw something in me and said to me, Cecilia, uh, there's an opportunity at this company where they're looking for an IT manager. You should really give it a shot. And I did. I was very young. I was 20, I think 24 years old, and I had my first management role.
Wow.
Um, and oh my goodness, it was I was very fortunate because they hired me saying, we have a few issues with our emails, and we have a terrible website. And I said, sure. I mean, I handle that all the time. That seems easy. Let me take a look. Joined the company, and what I realized is that yeah, you have they have website that really needs some help, but what's driving your website is your database, and your database is a mess. And how do you do e-commerce when your database is just not in top shape? So that became a whole ERP system journey, which then led to the a business transformation actually. And you know, to my surprise, from an e-commerce standpoint, the company was had programs, and in a given day they had an opening, and people will line up on that building 2 blocks around the building to sign up for the program. And when we launched our e-commerce site, our new e-commerce site, the number of revenue that it took us an entire day to receive, we got it within 1 hour. And I was like, wow, this is really exciting, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, and just like
And
that,
but how did you then go from that into the Urban Edge role that you've got now? I mean, was it a role that was created for you? Was it one that was there and you were headhunted in? How did that come about?
let me think about this for a second. I was I was actually on maternity leave at the time, and I
Oh,
was looking for a job. Um, and I realized that there was a company called Urban Edge Properties that was having a position that had a position open, and it was looking for, I mean, it was exactly what I had done prior to my maternity leave job, right? I was working for a private equity in high street retail,
Okay.
and I also as the head of technology for that company. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is exactly what I want. And I reached out to the company, and I was very lucky. This is a very small industry, and at the time there were many people that I knew that worked for that company and that were consulting for that company. And yeah, so I got the pleasure to meet the executive team. Apparently, they like me, and I'm still here.
It is amazing. In a lot of the work that I've done over the last couple of years, no more than that, around understanding the innovators more, and in particular the innovator roles that they have. And I find it quite fascinating about how many of those leadership roles, like yours, which are almost they're generated for that person. They haven't had that role beforehand, and it's a really interesting discussion to have with the people perhaps that have had to build out their roles and build out their job descriptions as to what they look like. So I still think we're in that time of the market, and we will be probably for 4 or 5 years as the industry starts to try to understand how it develops from here with roles like yours.